There's a power that lives within every human that walks this earth. It's a language of human emotion. And the power of human emotion that we typically discount in our culture, not so in other cultures, but in our culture, the power of that emotion to literally change the conditions that we're talking about, the conditions of the healing within our bodies. And what the experiments are showing is that this power of emotion has the ability to influence not only our bodies biologically, but beyond our bodies into the physical world on the quantum level. It is a powerful language that other cultures apparently know very well. And in the West, when science came in, science discounted the effects of things that cannot be seen and measured directly 400 years ago. And now they're coming back full circle with the language of quantum science, reincorporating these forces, but the feeling and the emotion and the power of human emotion is among those forces that cannot be seen. The laboratory experiments are documenting the fact, and it is a fact now, that human emotion changes the DNA inside of our bodies and the way we function in this world, and that those effects extend beyond our bodies into the physical matter of the people in the world around us when we learn that language.
Okay, I'm going to try to explain this again about what it's actually about is doing deep emotional release work. And I never really talked about this too much as enough. You can never talk about it enough because we have blocks against it. So going to go back to my little chart. These are the realms of emotional release, right? This in here is the mom and pop stuff. That's me, you know, the little me, mom and pop, and the 4 parts. So you can do emotional release from each of your 4 parts. And emotional release always is expressed outward, and it goes out. So it goes to the mom and pop, goes to the family, friends and spouse, this husband and wife stuff, and friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, pals. Then it goes out to the nondescript people like, you know, preachers, teachers, they, them, society. What'll society think? Don't do this because, you know, what'll they think? The people. That's in this realm here. And then there's like when you're angry at the world, okay? You're angry at the world, you're angry at this universe is no good, the world is bad, this world is evil, the world is against me. Yeah. Those are those judgments from that. There's society's judgments, you know, and society, and so it's an expression of levels of emotional release, okay? And then there's the angels, demons, guides, masters, and all those kind of people in this realm here. Okay, spirit realm. And then you have up here the God and the devil, okay? So when you do emotional release, it's each one of these realms, right? As you hit these realms, or you hit these levels, or you hit these areas. So if you're doing your mom and pop stuff, you know, mom didn't give me love, you know. But that's also your husband and wife doesn't give you love. Society doesn't give you love. There's no love in the world. You know, the spirit guides and masters and ascended masters, they're not giving you love. And then there's the God is not giving you love. So it's the same emotion all the way through. And then when you feel judged, right, there's your judge, dad says, I'm not good enough, right? And then that is the same as the judgment as, you know, if your brother, sister, husband, wife says you're not good enough, or the implied that you're not good enough. And then society, when you feel like everybody in society is better than you, or everybody in society is looking down on you, you're not good enough, or you're not worthy, or you're not smart enough, or intelligent enough, or whatever it is. And then the whole world, like you don't fit in this whole world, that this whole world is like it's not what, it's not accepting of you, and you're not fitting into it. And then this spiritual thing right here, this is a big one for a lot of people. There's the ascended masters and the spirit guides, and they're always on this highest plane, and they're always saying, oh, you should try to meditate more, you should be more loving, you should do that, all this should. Then it always shows you how far away you are from that ascended state, or that lofty realm. And it's really, really devastating to your soul to think that there's always this super high state of being that you're not getting to. And that's the proof. That's actually the proof of how fucked up you are, what a problem you have. Then you go out to the God realm, okay? So anger goes all the way out to here and goes all the way to God, okay? God and the devil, yeah? So, and it's the same thing. I'm not good enough in God's eyes, fuck you. Or I'm not worthy, I'm not loving enough, I'm a sinner, and all this kind of these judgments, which are just completely not true, but they're being echoed against this ideal God thing. Yeah. So the whole hierarchy here, there's this whole hierarchy of spirits, and from the mom and pop, intimate family, to them, to the whole world, people, governments, everything, and then to the masters, teachers, the saints and sages, all those guys, and out to God. So that echoes all the way out. It's all actually the same thing, and it happens on the inside of you. Okay, and then every denial comes from the God-devil thing, right? It comes from there. So, your mom and pop are like, why is, your dad is telling you the absolute truth, and that truth for you, that truth comes from God. So whenever you're being judged by your mom and dad, like you're too wild, too crazy, shut up, don't say that, don't talk back, that they are representing God. They're standing in God's place, right? And this whole thing of representing God that's the definition of Lucifer. Lucifer trying to take God's place. Yeah. So in every judgment and every emotion, there's this connection to God. So it's your deep emotional self, and then there's supposedly your higher self. Okay. This is the kind of the story, the myth we have inside of us. But let's separate this myth for a while and just say it this way. This whole God thing, all the God stuff, all the God judgments are in fact your own mind. And this stuff down here is your emotional body. It's actually this whole three realms here is actually your emotional body. So it is God, the light, and the will, mother of the will, man and the woman, right? It is that polarity that's going on inside of you that's worked itself out as mom and pop, family and friends, them and they, but it's really just two things. It is your mind over here, your mind acting in God's place, and your emotional body, your four parts down here. That's the polarity. But we project it out into the world in all this hierarchy because we have an inner hierarchy. Okay? So when you're doing deep, deep raging, powerful stuff, whoever it is, it's your husband, wife, it's your boss, it's God, or whoever, or your mom and pop. Mostly it's your mom and dad and whoever really hurt you the most when you're a child, right? That is always goes back to here, always goes back to the God. And your mind acting in God's place. Okay, now what happens when you allow yourself to go out to the God realm and be angry at God, raging at God, raging at God? Yeah? And you've trained your mind, you've trained your personality to accept whatever is going on here, right? Accepts all of this. This is where you do your judgment release. This is where you do your emotional release. Yeah. What happens is, this is where ego and heart can come to the front. As long as you stay in this mom and pop, family and friends, them and they, right? Or even into the world with your judgments and your rage. As long as you stay there, right? And you don't go all the way out to this realm. So you don't go out to this realm or this realm with your emotional intent. It doesn't go out to there. Then what you've done is you've just looped all of your emotions down into your lowest part of yourself. And you're not connecting to this higher part of yourself, which is your mind and your intellect. Okay? So what heart does, okay, and the heart, if heart is the child, right? And this represents heart in here, which is the world, the universe. The whole universe exists within your heart. And if you cannot move your emotions all the way out to your mind, which is in this scenario is God or the devil, whichever way you want to put it. But it is God playing the part of the devil, or it is the devil pretending to be God. Either one, you got to rage towards that in a powerful, deep way, right? And then you clear out the judgments, because you have judgments from your mom and pop, judgments from your husband and family, judgments from society, right? But if you go back, there's the same judgments, but with this little extra energy that's coming from God. But in this scenario, remember, God is your mind acting in God's place, okay? So the ego, this is you, just basically your normal self. Your ego is sitting in the middle at heart's place and looking in both directions and saying, this over here, the God energy is making the little me in the four parts miserable. They're just full of anger and rage and pain and grief and suffering. And this guy over here is not feeling anything. Yeah? This is your ego saying, who's the good guys and who's the bad guys? Now, when you can take responsibility for the whole range, you can take responsibility for all of this, right? You can say, God is not being loving. God is not being kind. God is not being compassionate, right? You can take responsibility for that. This is what it really takes to break this chain of protection. So we protect our abuser, which is our mind, okay? In this work, it is the mind that is abusing the heart, the will, and the body, yeah? And so the energy of rage needs to go out to the God, which is the mind. It needs to go out to the God with full blast, okay? And what happens is, instead of, I have this thing on a horizontal level, okay? Because with chakras, it's this way. You know, it is your heart and your throat and your third eye, and, you know, it's up here, so they're up and down this way. So it has the appearance of hierarchy, right? But in this one, I'm showing it horizontal to show you that that your mind over here, who's pretending to be God and speaking for God, or giving you the laws, the rules, and the judgments, your mind, right, is equal to and balanced to your emotional body. All of this down here, they're equal, right? When that happens, you take responsibility for the whole spectrum of what's going on inside of you. And that is the world. You take responsibility for your whole inner world, your whole inner universe, right? And you, as your ego, as your heart, you stand there and you look both ways. This side needs to do emotional release, and this side needs to stop judging. And they have to be able to meet in the middle. They have to be able to meet in heart. It is about taking responsibility for what's actually happening on every level. Okay? It sounds complicated, but it's very simple. It sounds like this is big drama, but it's not. It is the higher function of your ego to say, stop acting like God and come down here to the level of pain. Yeah? And to let your pain express until it comes up to the level to where your spirit and your heart and your will and your body are equal partners. Nobody's higher than the other. Nobody's lower than the other. Nobody's damaged more. Nobody's up in some Godhead. Godhead. Yeah. Nobody's in the castle. This is the castle on the hill. Yeah. That's not the reality. The reality is you have these four parts that are really one, right? And the only way they can be one is when they're not stacked up. They're equal in oneness. Yeah. So this is where heart comes into play, because everything passes through heart, right? Everything passes through heart. So all the judgments go through heart, and all the emotions come back through heart. And when ego and heart work together and stop the judgments and balance out all the emotions, then you become the rightful king, the rightful owner, the one who holds the balance, the one who's in charge of your whole world, and of your whole universe. But you can't do it by holding back on the vibrational frequency of the release of your emotional stuff that has to go all the way out to your mind, right? Which is being called God here, right? So if you remember in the Bible, Christ one time said, you can blaspheme against the Father, you can blaspheme against the Son, but you cannot blaspheme against the Holy Spirit. This is what he's talking about. The Holy Spirit is out here. That cannot even be touched by words or feelings or anything. So this is the Father, this is the Mother. And when that balance happens, yeah, then you are born into an adult, balanced human being. Yeah, that's like a rebirth. It's very much like a rebirth. Then I think Christ also said, I didn't come for peace. I came to make a division between the father and son and mother and daughter, make a separation. This is Matthew 10:34-36. Do not suppose that I have come to bring peace on earth. I did not come to bring peace, but a sword. Or I have come to turn a man against his father, a daughter against her mother, a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. A man's enemies will be the members of his own household. That is what we're talking about. Breaking the God spell, the God barrier. And that goes back to for those who have this Christian thing like this is somehow against Christ or against God. It's not, because he's saying in here you have this yourself, which you whether you're a man or a woman, and there's your mom and pop. But this is not your real mom and pop. This is your imagination of the memory of what happened to you as a kid. It is a photograph. It is a little memory chip of the mom and the pop. It is the mom and the pop you carry in your head at the time that they hurt you or they judged you or you got loaded up or you got shocked or you got traumatized, okay? It is that mom and pop that you separate. It is that mom and pop that you fight. It is that mom and pop that you rage at. And when you move your rage at that mom and pop that are stuck energy, stuck essence inside of you, then and move it all the way out to the God self, which is your mind that holds it all in place, then you get real relief, okay? Because all this stuff is just energy and images that have happened to you. And that's why really deep emotional release breaks the illusion of those images, breaks the illusion of that stuff written in stone. And then transformation can really happen really, really fastly. So like maybe 6 months of doing this a couple times a week, or a year and a half if you've been really traumatized, or 2 years if you've been really traumatized. I mean, some people have been traumatized since they're 5 years old till the time they're 20. Just really had a hard time. But it's the same process no matter how much trauma you have. So we as identity sitting up here thinking that we're God does not want to go down in here because, and this is why you see a lot of people not doing any healing work, because they're up here in this God self, thinking that they're okay, thinking that they're ascending, thinking that they have a higher vibration, thinking that they're loving all the time, and they're not paying any attention to this. This is denial, okay? So these people aren't doing any work. They feel okay, but they don't see what's going on down here. Yeah, they don't feel that, and that's why the world still is messed up. You won't start to see that really changes in the world until everybody does at least the basics until they get to this place where the heart is in control and the ego says enough. I'm going to take care of every emotion, every word, every judgment that happens in my consciousness. And I'm not going to let this suffer. I'm not going to let my emotional body, my will suffer endlessly, my inner child being hurt and tortured endlessly by all this crap. And I'm not going to let my mind judge and hold judgments and hold denial and be the boss, big shot, bully, hate person. You know how many people hate their body, hate themselves? That's this God devil stuff. It's from the mind. And, family history. So that's my little pitch on this, about going past that resistance out into rage towards God, because it is the God of your imagination. It is your identity made manifest. It is your ego becoming God, right? And ego is not supposed to be God. It's supposed to be the one who can tell the good guys from the bad guys and who's hurting who. That's what it's there for. Not to be the identity of, I'm the master of my body, the master of this or that, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I think that's as far as I wanted to go with that. And this is real important. I haven't really talked about this. This is the first time I talked about heart. This is the first time I talked about ego, and the first time I talked about breaking through the barrier of emotional expression into the very end. Right? It's at the very end of that where God is the ultimate responsible, the one who's ultimately responsible for everything that happens. Inside of you is your mind. And your mind has not been given or taken responsibility yet for the fullness of the pain that has happened. When the mind takes the full responsibility for everything, then you can have balance relatively quickly. But in order to do that, the emotional body has to be able to rage past those limitations of the masters, the God, the love, and all that stuff, and get out to the core of whoever it is, whatever it is that energy is, that is the source of all suffering. Yeah? And the source of all suffering is God's denial of suffering, which is our mind's denial of suffering. Yeah? Our mind saying, we are okay, and I'm going to deny that suffering. That's the source of all suffering.
Now I'll show you in 1 minute what a strong, powerful will raging out at God looks like. And then what people who are praying and wishing and hoping, beggars, children who have not confronted their adult mind and put all their faith in this God, and nothing happens. People are still getting murdered in the street, war's still raging on, and only one strong will voice speaks up and says, fuck this shit. Yeah? That's what it looks like when you break that fucking barrier, and we need to break that barrier.
Fuck that church shit, nigga. That shit wasn't never given to us. That shit was given to us when we was on the motherfucking ships, nigga. And now we still using the same shit that the motherfuckers enslaved us with, nigga. Fuck that church shit, nigga. Fuck that shit. Who the fuck is we praying to, nigga? A lot of us don't even know who the fuck we praying to. Fuck that shit. Fuck that church shit. I said it. That ain't our shit. That's they shit, nigga. We ain't had no motherfucking Jesus Christ, nigga. We had us. One people, one love, one God, nigga. No motherfucking Jesus. Fuck that shit. And then what?
Same shit.
And then what?
Same bullshit.
Same shit.
You are God, you are gracious. Touch us, Lord, and give us justice, that this will not happen, that we will not have to bury another black man because of some violent cop. Let black lives be as important as blue lives.
That was pretty ugly, right? One girl moving her emotions, saying, fuck this shit. And you got a whole group of people all begging to Jesus, begging to God, over a man who just got shot by the police. You know, begging to an imaginary God that is only in the mind of man. Not going to do anything. You have to move your emotions. And when you move your emotions, it's ugly. This is Hardface. He's moving his emotions in poetry, but he's moving his emotions about his mother wanting to abort him when he was a child.
This shit don't make no goddamn sense. I hope you holler like a wet dog or a pig stuck up under a fence. For the rest of your days, I hope you feel so hollow. Bitch, why did you just fucking swallow? I'm gonna make sure you don't never have another sister or brother. Pull me out this motherfucker feet first if you want to, and I'ma hold on and try to yank out your motherfucking fallopian tubes. On my way out this motherfucker, I'ma snatch your ball spot out your nappy pubes. You cold-blooded bitch, once a month you menstruate red ice cubes until your tampons look like cherry popsicles. So many abortions that now they only tickle. Your mind is so fucking feeble and fickle. And I looked over and I seen the promised land. And I might not get there with you because you sucked me out the motherfucking picture. But I'm gonna finish what you started. I'm gonna finish whatever you started. And if you pull me out prematurely, surely I'm gonna be holding on to the bottom of your heart until I pull your motherfucking soul apart. Bitch, don't come to heaven, ho. Don't come to heaven, ho. Bitch, it's on. Come to heaven if you want to, bitch. Don't come to heaven. Don't come to heaven, ho. I'm gonna eat your motherfucking wings off your motherfucking back. Put honey gold on them motherfuckers. Don't come to heaven, ho. Don't come over here.
It is also ugly and disturbing. But keep in mind that you want that stuff out of your body. You want to clear that stuff. It's a clearing, it's pulling of the weeds, right? And you get your hands dirty, you pull the weeds out of your garden and you release that. Then love can come back in and balance can happen. So emotional release is ugly, but it's even more ugly to let that stuff fester inside of you as it becomes a disease or some kind of shit or an attitude or a racial prejudice or whatever. Hard face. Life is vibration. And the vibration of life has frequency, volume, meaning, and feeling, right? So if we only have a little frequency, a little volume, a little meaning, and a little feeling, then our life is smaller. It's nothing. It's like a monotone, mono feeling, mono human. Yeah? So, life is vibration, so more vibration is more life. More frequency, you want a wider frequency, you want more frequency of life. And more volume. From the little tiny squeak of the beggar to the roar of the lion. Ah! Fuck you. Whatever it is. Volume. And in the volume and the frequency comes of the feeling, more feelings. So you want more feelings. Yeah? Feel all your fears. Feel all your angers. Feel all your sorrow. Feel all your grief. Feel all of that. And in all those feelings comes meaning. So instead of having like a meaningless, purposeless life, because you don't have the feelings, you're not in touch with your feelings, you can have a wider feeling life. And that gives you deeper and deeper and deeper meaning. Your life becomes meaningful because meaningful and feeling full and the volume of your life and the frequency of your life is all expanded. And you want to expand these frequencies, the vibrational frequencies, these 4 vibrational frequencies, as wide as you can. Meditation is one side of the frequency. The other side is emotional release. So the meditation is calm, and then the vibration of fear and anger and rage and guilt and all those things vibrated to its maximum. Yeah? And then when it balances out, you're a much wider person. You can go deep into the meditation, or you can go deep into the emotions. You're a much more rich and authentic person. This is what I'm getting at. And you have to break that God barrier. The identification of God as some kind of pyramid, top of the hill, Godhead, invisible, mean guy who just makes war all the time. Makes people suffer and doesn't take any responsibility for it. Just like humans do. Just like the government does. Just like the military does. Just like the corporations do. They're all miniature Godheads. And that's not the real God. God is in nature. God is in the rain. God is in gravity. God is in the air you breathe. Not the structures of some guy and a Godhead on a castle or heaven with clouds. That's not God. So, it's probably going to lose me some customers, but it's got to be done. You can't be real and just be a monotone, mono feeling, mono volume, and only have one frequency, which is fake. Can't do that. Be a full spectrum human being. That's what we're going for, full spectrum human being.